Let's go, Warrior. We are live today from New York City, yesterday, Washington, D.C. And I want to tell you what the heck is going on there because we do have a lot of great stuff going on. In the meantime, make sure you can hear me. Give me a 5 by 5. Let me know you can see me. Occasionally, we get this complaint I can't hear you. Everything sounds great to me, but just let me know before I start talking about everything. And also make sure Edie's always on top of it that you like these videos. It helps us here on the YouTube. And also subscribe to the channel. We have about 20% of you who watch videos subscribing. Now, I think we can up that a little bit. And also remember always to follow LYNN'Swarriors.org. We have our resource page. We put out daily headlines, all kinds of tidbits of information for you. Now that I've gotten our housework out of the way, let's get to it. I want to say that humanity is fighting back for our kids. Okay, good. We can hear you well. Fred, 5 by 5. Okay. Thank you, Fred. Thank you for welcoming me back. I got back in the middle of the night in the cloak of darkness, and we'll be going back to Washington. We have a lot of work happening right now, a lot of momentum on things. But let me just describe what yesterday was about. It's very important to understand what is going on, the pushback in America. Most media will not share this with you. They're not interested in it. They don't care about it. Of course, WABC radio cares about it because they feature the Warriors twice a week. We're on the Cats Roundtable, a national edition of the Cats of that program every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. with host John Katzmatidis and also with my better half, my husband Lionel, who is so great. Because of him, I'm on his show, Another Side of Midnight, and that would be Friday nights at 2:30 a.m. You know, we work around the clock here. But I just want to mention about my husband. I could not do any of this work, advocacy, travel, dealing with survivor parents, survivors of human trafficking, without his great support, his hand on my shoulder, always encouraging me, always helping me. You know, a lot goes on behind the scenes, and he is always there for me. So I just want to put out a great big, right now, public thank you. I've been remiss, I think, because I really just couldn't do what I do without him. Thank you, Lionel Nation. Sounded great, sounding strong. Okay, good. I want to describe yesterday. So I also left in the cloak of darkness, Penn Station here in New York City, and that was very interesting, which I was happy to see. I had to go. There are two buildings now for Penn Station. The old post office, which I believe was at one time the largest post office in the United States. They call it Moynihan train station now. It was the Moynihan post office in its day, and they transformed this beautiful building, you know, the architecture, into this great train hall, kind of like Grand Central, if you're familiar at all with the train station here in New York. And just clean and beautiful and up to date and modern. However, when you take a train anywhere before 5 a.m., you got to go across the street to the old Penn Station. But I was happy to see that even if you want to use a bathroom there, now remember, we're in the middle of New York City, it's all roped off, and there is a police officer who allows you kind of one or two at a time to go into that bathroom. So I'm happy to see that there's a lot of presence 4 o'clock in the morning with all of this. They also, because I usually do take a train so I can go in the other building at 5 a.m. I haven't been in there in a while. They also, it was interesting. They have a whole wall of vending machines, and not just your typical vending machines. There was a whole slew of CVS vending machines with every kind of product you want to buy. I've never seen a CVS vending machine. And there was also a cupcake vending machine, just all kinds of things like that. So let's get to it. Yesterday was a very important day. June 23rd is designated as Social Media Victims Remembrance Day on Capitol Hill. Now, bear with me because I really want to explain this. Two mothers found out a couple of years back that both of their sons no longer with them. Remember, we have algorithms here, everybody. And both of them, this happened to them on June 23rd, 2020. So these two brave moms, Amy Neville and Kristen Bride, came together and really rallied hard over the last few years to create this Social Media Victims Remembrance Day. And what it is a gathering, what we call the Upper Senate Lawn. Think of the Dome and the Capitol building. There are buildings all around that. There's a park in the middle. You've got this Dirksen office building, Russell office building. There's a park in the middle. You got the Dome, the building, the actual that everybody sees in all the visuals. And on the other side, you have Rayburn. So it's like a whole complex. We'll call it a complex. The park's right in the middle. And a beautiful fountain. And just, I will say, DC these days is a lot cleaner. I do see a lot of National Guard in the train station. I see in front of the train station, there's a beautiful kind of little park, because you can just walk through that little park in front of the train station straight up the hill to Capitol Hill. You're there, which I love because you jump off a train, you go right up there to do your business on Capitol Hill. But I noticed that park was closed until just fairly recently. It is so beautifully done now and so pristine. The plantings, the marble is shining on the statues. I mean, it really does look very impressive. And our president did say at one point, I heard him say, when people come to the city, it's the people's city, basically, Washington. If they get off a train or a plane, they should see pretty, nice, clean, representative things. So great big shout out that it looks so beautiful around Union Station. Let's get back to the day, why it's so important, and I want all of you to know about it. It started last year, this Social Media Victims Remembrance Day. The day also started yesterday. It was dark and cloudy, and I said, by the time I got to Washington, if it will just say dark and cloudy, it'll be okay, because we're doing something outside in the park. And you know how it goes when something is windy and rainy, and our event was starting at 4 p.m. So all day as I went from meeting to meeting to meeting, I was just really praying. By the time all the parents gather and family members for this kind of silent memorial in the park, hopefully the rain will hold at bay. But they were predicting rain all day. And it was pouring. I was going from meeting to meeting in the pouring rain and walking and, like holding up my clothes. It was that kind of flooding raining when you step into the, like gutter, it's up past your ankles. It was horrible. But that being said, none of that matters, because by the time 4 p.m. rolled around, I want to say just about 3:30, the sun came out. It was a beautiful, breezy kind of afternoon. Sun was going in and out, but there was no rain. And I'm like, oh, my prayers have been answered for these parents. And the park, understanding, you can go on our X account or Facebook and look at the visuals of, they are placards. And yesterday there were 272, I believe, of children, teens, young people, some 20, some 12, who are no longer with us, directly harmed by social media. And I say directly harmed because when their parents are able to do a review, go back in the history, go through their devices and see what is going on, whether it's cyberbullying, sextortion, lots of kids think they're buying Oxy or Percocet online, and it's got fentanyl in it. They understand this is what happened, right? It happened through online harms, social media, online harms. I mean, we also recently have those 2 court cases, right? Saying, big tech, these 2 court cases, Meta in particular, you are putting out a product that is harmful. And the case was won. And that was in California, and a case in New Mexico, which said, children's privacy and data and information being shared and things like that. These are new angles other than, big tech, you are bad. Social media, you are bad. We don't believe in that, by the way. We believe at the Warriors, as many do, our colleagues, we work with very ethical technologists. We are pro-innovation, pro-technology, but we want it to work for our children and families. I don't think it's too much to ask. Right now, big tech is operating with no regulation. I tell you this all the time. So, of course, they're going to do whatever they want, and they're going to just keep making that money is going to roll in. And the history of big tech, I don't want to be the moral police, everybody, morality police. They've been given every opportunity to step up and do a few things. And sure, they put out glossy PR press releases when something's going down or just to quiet everybody up. Or, frankly, the public will think, because it is a big tech company putting out, for instance, Apple, we have taken these safety measures, these safeguards. They think that's good enough, right? but we know better at the Warriors, as do many of my colleagues. We have the studies, we have the testing. We have things like the Apple App Store, where ratings for children, basically 40 something percent, 42%, I believe it is, are not the right ratings. But if a busy parent or grandparent sees, okay for ages 8 plus, and the child wants that game, that app, whatever, they're going to buy it for them because they're counting on those ratings. And those ratings are incorrect. So if it's 40 something, it's probably about half of what's in the App Store. And new apps are popping up every single day. But why this day is so important is these brave and courageous parents. They formed this beautiful silent memorial. So you have placards of the children, in the ground, those metal frames. And it is the most heartbreaking. It is absolutely silent. You can just kind of hear the wind whistling, kind of this murmur of people talking as they were taking their seats, plenty of crowds standing around. Much bigger event than a year ago. Many more people and press did attend. So I'm saying, the public is not accepting all of this big tech and AI being thrown at everybody. Humanity is indeed fighting back. Parents are fighting back. We are all fighting back, right? And I want all of you to get on board. You can find out, come to me. Everybody can do something. And I had asked the other day, even if you shared this event, because let's face it, you're not going to travel to Washington, most likely. That's the reality. But you could share it, that it was happening on your social media platforms. That helps us tremendously. So the event itself, just beautiful. The two moms, spoke. But at the same time, we have going on right now, tremendous goings on with Capitol Hill, with the Senate, House in particular, that there is a whole package of child safety legislation that the House has bundled into one. And we've talked for years about the Kids Online Safety Act, Senate version 1748. I throw that in because when it came over from the Senate, the bill, you got to follow the thread here, everybody. It passed in the Senate 91-3. It's miraculous, 91-3. Goes over to the House. So we all thought, well, it will be the same thing. Who would vote against putting a duty of care on big tech to put out a reasonable product that doesn't mitigate harms, or they do the best of their ability? It's kind of that's even, in my opinion, a little wishy-washy. A duty of care. There's 3 little words, right? And the House just let it sit until, I'm going to say, and I'm going to believe, until March 1st of 2026, a couple of months ago, when I brought a group of parents to Mar-a-Lago to meet with the president, to share their stories, just to talk to him as a father and a grandfather. And from that period forward, because they couldn't get any movement in the House, they couldn't get Speaker Johnson. Many of these parents were seeking meetings. There are different groups who've got Parents Rise, Parents Safe Online Spaces. Just ignoring. You don't ignore the public. You don't ignore your constituents. Everybody working, the parents who lived in their states, going to their state capitals, their senators, ignored. So we had our March 1st meeting with the president. And from there on, we went forward having a meeting, the parents, in May with Speaker Johnson. And very important to get Ted Cruz on board, chairman of the committee. I don't want to get out there and be lecturing you about how it all works. Just know they were ignoring everybody, and now they're not. So fast forward, our Kids Online Safety Act, sponsored by Senator Marsha Blackburn and Senator Richard Blumenthal. So you have a Republican and Democrat just sitting around. Now, all of a sudden, around Thanksgiving, out of nowhere, I'm going to call it out of nowhere, the House announces they're lumping all these bills together. And again, I want to just kind of make it simple because, frankly, it could get boring for you. So we never at the Warriors want to bore you. And they're lumping all these bills together, and they took the Kids Online Safety Act, Senate version 1748. They removed those 3 very important words, duty of care, which basically doesn't hold big tech accountable for anything. And they put out some sort of overall Kids Act and what that means, but there's no duty of care. The bottom line is, it doesn't push on big tech to really do anything different. There's this preemption talk, preemption. It actually was told to me that, I'll use no names here, Somebody was in a very high-ranking office talking to somebody in a high-ranking position, and this person says, I don't understand what preemption is. Now, if this is what's leading our country and leading child safety movement, or part of it, I should say, not leading it, part of it, this is horrible. So preemption just means what they want to do right now is the states have done a great job in child safety legislation. Now we have AI legislation, things in New York. We have things like the RAISE Act. And they want to just preemption, get rid of all of that and have one federal standard. Okay, I can almost see having a framework for things, but not to erase what's been going on, right? Work with the states. Let that stand. But 44 state attorneys general, and this was late last August, and nobody really talked about it. They all signed a letter, Democrats and Republicans alike, 44 states, saying, AI, if you come for our kids and harm them, we are coming after you. So this week on Capitol Hill, the House did put out some language, of course, without that duty of care, going to what they call a markup. Of course, these beautiful parents who for years have now been sharing their stories, their grief, courageously working. I mean, the warriors, we need, it's very touchy. This did not happen to me, right? I did not lose a child. But we need those parents to speak out and share that because that's what resonates, right? With the public or with the government. And it's just heartbreaking. But what came out of these two moms, Amy Neville and Kristen Bride, losing their boys, teenage boys, is they formed this beautiful silent memorial and created this social media Victims Remembrance Day. And to honor all the children, right? And all the families forever changed by these online harms. I don't know what's so tough for everybody, in government to understand here. We'll get to that in a minute. But the event also marks, supporting the courageous parents who turned what can only be the worst grief. I mean, unimaginable. There's nothing, we work behind the scenes with parents. There's nothing. What can you say to a parent? All you can do is put a hand on a shoulder, give them a hug, tell them you love them, thank them for their work. There is nothing else you can do for them. So we at the Warriors are determined. We are going to help get the Kids Online Safety Act passed to honor their children, honor them for doing this work. And they all tell me the same thing, that they don't want a tragedy like this to happen to any other kids and families, okay? But Brad points out a very good, something here I want to bring attention to as I'm talking away here. He's in cybersecurity and the lack of knowledge of parents when it comes to tech, right? Here's the thing. Yes, we must hold big tech accountable. There's no regulation. They're making so much money off the backs of our children, off of you, okay? They are a national security threat to our country. We've got these terror groups on there. We've got all kinds of things, right? We do know they have the availability to censor, right? I want to go back a few years. Remember, if your messaging online wasn't in step with everything going on, read between the lines, everybody. You'd be kicked off of Twitter at the time, or you'd get a community note from Facebook. You're in Facebook jail. I have plenty of people tell I'm in Facebook jail. I've even reposted things in the past. I didn't write a well-vetted article about child safety or about human trafficking. And then I got, you're not allowed to do it. It's against community standards. Well, it could be like the Wall Street Journal I'm reposting. Okay. So we know they have the ability to censor. I never understand why we don't have this censorship around, the CSAM, child sexual abuse material. But Brad brings up a good point. We have to drive the messaging home. You got to parent up. You're going to buy those devices. You're going to pay for the internet, routers in your home. You're going to put the world in your child, the teen's hand. I can't tell you when to give your child a device. There's parental autonomy. That is up to you. Wise up parents and grandparents. We have a lot of grandparents raising kids today, also buying devices for kids as presents, right? Kids want all this technology. And nobody means it, and grandparents will gladly, buy a game for the child or buy them a new phone. You've got to parent up. This really is a critical and crucial moment in America, I believe, right now, as we are involved. We're not getting to AI. We're not expecting it. We're in it. I spent yesterday in one meeting in particular with, I want to say, one of the ultimate AI experts. And of course, I have my list of questions, and I need to be, taught by him about these things. And we're in the thick of it. And you have a duty, a responsibility. Now, again, we suggest, because we can't say don't buy that phone. You can do so many things that only take a few minutes. I mean, delay is always the way, right? And that is the hashtag from Protect Young Eyes, our great friend Chris McKenna at protectyoungeyes.com. Delay is the way. Why does a 5-year-old, when a mother complains to me, her child's on with strange men on a phone? Well, how is a 5-year-old? First of all, they've got a phone. Second of all, are you not being aware that they're communicating? 5 years old. So it's delay is the way. No screens, basically. 0 to 2, definitely, for babies. I mean, we have all these studies coming out now, right? We've had the internet basically since 1996. We call that kind of the birth of the internet. And we have 30 years now. We've got studies, we've got stats, we've got these 2 current lawsuits, we've got thousands more lawsuits pending. We've got psychologists, psychiatrists, we've got educators, we've got parents now. You gotta parent up. Do not hand your child a device without understanding what the device is. There's plenty of free information, right? A lot of the devices do have safety, guardrails on them. They make it, I believe, on purpose, difficult, right? An iPhone, 31, 32 steps to get to some safety. By step 10, you're like, no, just be safe. Take the phone and be safe. You cannot do that. That's what they're counting on, right? We have Instagram now. When you turn 13, you're getting a message, your parents have no access to your account. And since when did all this happen? My husband is a former prosecutor, lawyer, and I'll always say to him, kind of rhetorically, but I thought 18 and under was a minor. You can't enter into a contract, right? But you're allowed to have secrecy online and be considered a tech adult, at 13 now, 14. Some things are 15, 16. It's up to us. But what we have going on right now, I'm very positive, because there has been such pushback about what the House put out, taking out those 3 little words, duty of care, and also this preemption talk. In the meantime, let's just take care of our American kids and families and protect them and draw a line in the sand. And it's not about, plenty of people write to me, plenty of people curse me out online, nobody censors that, right? Plenty of people write really horrible things. And every time they do, because it does not bother me at all, right? I think of children when I hear of cyberbullying. And I didn't understand when I started all of this how deadly that can be. And then dealing with parents, for a child to be bullied and bullied over and over, and the pile-on, and then all the strangers come, and then a child just does away with themselves. They can't take it. They're endlessly mocked. Their looks, their actions, their families it is horrific. Why is big tech allowed? They have plenty of money. They must be held accountable. And our Congress must step up. So enough of this preemption talk right now. Congress needs to do something, okay? We've got Sam Altman, OpenAI, Google running around all over Congress. That's the one time I saw him put on a suit, this guy, a couple of weeks ago, running all over in and out of offices. Remember, right now, the most money on Capitol Hill is all big tech money. That money is, they employ lobbyists. The last I heard is one lobbyist for every 4 members of Congress. Think of all that constantly in the ears of the legislators, constantly in the ears of legislative staff, constantly there, right? And they're busy on Capitol Hill, and that kind of brainwashing over and over again if they hear something. And you know, power and money is attractive to most people. That's just the way it goes in America, right? That's what people follow. That's what people do. So I was happy yesterday at the event. We had our beautiful mothers, Amy and Kristen, speak. And then we had Senator Richard Blumenthal, who one of the co-sponsors of the Kids Online Safety Act, speak. Then we had Senator Amy Klobuchar, very important, doing excellent work and really responsible a lot for the Take It Down Act that was signed into law a year ago, May, right? I was very proud to be there and witness this. So I actually thought a year ago, May, this is the beginning of holding big tech responsible. I mean, Take It Down Act. You have 48 hours, take it down, big tech or else. Okay, then you'll be held responsible. So I thought Kids Online Safety Act would be the next progression of keeping kids safe. I mean, it doesn't really ask for much, except, you know what, big tech, you do everything you can, to when you put out your product, you be safe. Like, who wouldn't think that's sort of an easy thing to do? So now we've got Senator Josh Hawley, and he's really stepped up lately from Missouri. He has something called the GUARD Act. I actually put a tidbit of it on my X. Remember, I named everything Lynn's Warriors. I made it easy for everybody, okay? Because I want all of you to be a warrior. I want you to be one in your own home. That is good enough. With your own kids, be on top of all this. That's it. You don't have to go to Washington, your state capital, in your own home. I mean, I'm begging you. I'm urging you. That's it. That's a warrior's move. Okay, the next step. Okay, share the information. Friends, family members. Because remember, you can do everything right at home, and then your child is on the school bus. Because I just found out a lot of school buses, I didn't know this until recently, are wired. There's Wi-Fi on school buses. So I was told a lot of kids are on their phones and devices on the school buses. So they're going to see something, be told something, shown something, right? We have cases where the parents, good mother and father, Christian homes, just everybody's going to school, everybody's working, and their children have been harmed. So they did, and they talked to their kids open and honestly, like I'm always kind of preaching, right? So everybody's a victim now of this social media. And so now we need parents and caregivers to step up. Really think about if you give that child a device or they have one already. We know simple things you can do. Safety guardrails, okay? You don't understand how to do it? You can basically look everything up online, everybody, with directions. You can go to protectyoungeyes.com. And Chris has all kinds of information about how to do all these things, okay? There's a wonderful site, defendyoungminds.com, and that is about all this pornography that kids are seeing, and once seen can't unsee, and how it's poisoning boys, how they should act towards girls, and girls are accepting this behavior because they think, especially a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old, oh, this boy likes me if I allow him to do this. So our kids are being inundated with that. You need to keep devices out of the bedrooms at night. Children need their rest. They need their sleep. They need time off from infinite scrolling. Those lights that affect their eyes. I was looking at a study the other day, something like it was around 50% of children are going to have eye problems in their lives due to looking at all these screens. We already talk about tech neck, for everybody bending over looking, that eventually the neck will be curved when children are born. I guess that won't happen in our lifetime, but maybe it will. Maybe it will, because things are speeding up so fast. But the good news is all these families flew in, and they come together. It has really given them purpose. It's given them a family. It has given them a place to talk, to go into their senator's office, for instance, and sit down and say, I am that parent. This is why we need you. Or thank you for signing on. And I mean, that's where all of you come in. We always need constantly, you know, go to house.gov, go to senate.gov, find out who represents you. It will give you an email. It will give you a phone number. It will give you an actual address. It takes 2 seconds to jot off an email and say, please support child safety. Please support Kids Online Safety Act. Like, it's so easy. And these numbers are counted. So I want everybody to do something. You can do that behind your closed door. But the ultimate, here's what I want to say to everybody. The ultimate warriors, right? They're not the politicians or celebrities, activists. They are parents and families and mothers and fathers. These mothers and fathers yesterday, there were hundreds of people, endured this unimaginable tragedies in their lives. But this is what encourages me and us at the Warriors to fight so hard. Remember, you are the first line of defense. So getting back to Senator Josh Hawley, go to my Twitter. I put just a snippet. He is really giving him a gold star. I'm giving him a check plus, whatever you give him these days. Only 47 years old. And I'm thinking, he'd be a good presidential contender. He's young enough. We've got to engage our young people. He's a strong speaker. He's doing some wonderful things. I'm just digressing here with that, but he gave a very good speech, and he made it about the parents and that we love them and that we're here to help them, or we're going to get the work done for them. And that is actually a great politician. And I believe him because I see what's going on. So getting back to, I did an interview today, and this person, and I'm talking about yesterday, it's a very important day because as we have all the negotiations happening in Washington right now, the White House is listening to everybody. Listen, the White House favors big tech. That's the truth. Hearing from certain people who have their own agendas. We push for, okay, White House, there are other people you should hear from. We have agendas, but it's a flip side of what you're hearing. And graciously, the White House is engaging with everybody this week, talking to everybody, listening. So there's nothing set in stone. We hope to have good news about the Kids Online Safety Act. Of course, I'll be bringing that to you. Things are being worked on. You know how lawyers have to read the text and decipher things. But I say, this is a crucial moment that every member of Congress, this is the thing, confirmed by Senator Josh Hawley. Right now, the money, the biggest lobbyists, again, is big tech on Capitol Hill. So how do we fight this? We have to fight it the way we are, very grassroots, very coming together, taking action, remembering if you just write to who represents you, that one little email, that is what matters the most. So we can have a collective number. We're showing them we have a lot of people in the public involved in this, okay? You write one sentence. Please support Kids Online Safety Act, Senate version 1748. But to see photographs of hundreds of children, to see their parents standing there, to see their parents give speeches, to see the siblings just hanging their heads down. They lost their brother, they lost their sister. This is unacceptable. And all of these platforms do have a duty of care to take reasonable measures to prevent and mitigate harms to minors. That's what it's all about. It creates accountability. Accountability it's just been absent. So it's time to get on track. Things are happening, but we want tech to work for our children, not our children working for tech. And so I wanted to share how important this event is and was. We can't worry about the past right now. We've got truth on our side. We've got medical evidence. We've got whistleblowers who have come forward. We've got more ready to testify. there's a part of me that says, well, we can't keep bringing these big tech CEOs in front of Congress. What's the point, right? Because they really just lie, and they keep until they're held responsible. Until we sunset Section 230, I'll leave that for another time, not today. But what creates change is what our hashtag of the Warriors says. Community creates change. We in the public, and I am thrilled today that the public is not accepting. More people are talking about, oh, I wanted to just get back to that. I digressed, as usual. That I was doing this interview this morning, and this person was bullying me. Like, give us names of who's taking the money, and you're not answering the question. And really? Don't ever bully a warrior, because I can bully with the best. Well, I don't bully. I mean, I said the wrong thing. I can, what should I say? You just will never win with me, frankly. But I said, I think the better question would be, this big loudmouth was saying this to me. I think the better question would be, A, we don't have enough time to list all the people in this short interview, okay, with monies. B, the better question would be, who's not taking monies, okay? And yeah, that kind of just shut him up, right? But don't ever try to do that with a warrior, because you'll never win. You never win. I've got the truths, the facts, everything's in my brain, please. So that big mouth, when I'm trying to talk about parents and our Kids Online Safety Act, why we need the public to step up, and I'm so happy to see they are, and humanity's fighting back. And I got a big mouth. I know how it goes for ratings and clicks and likes. You want names. Yeah, you know what names I want to give you? The names of the children no longer with us. The hundreds, really thousands, because remember, a lot of people will not come forward. They don't talk about this. They want to forget about it. We have a lot of moms who say the dads just can't be part of anything. They don't want to talk about it all the time. You have dads who come forward and say, mother can't talk about it. So we'll keep talking about it. I want everybody to help. As Fred suggests, keeping the pressure on, we will. I want to say the sun came out. There was no rain on any of the parents. It was a beautiful night, followed by a dinner in the Rayburn building on Capitol Hill, followed by a vigil of candles being lit next to each child, right? Procession. And I'm very optimistic. So many things are happening. And I don't believe there would have been this kind of action a year ago where so many more people are involved, or even, WABC radio would want to talk about it and allow me to openly say what's going on, kind of thing. So let us come together. Let's keep working at it. But remember, I need all of you. Go to lynnswarriors.org. There's a resource page. Help us, whether it's a donation, whether it's a service you can offer, whether it's sharing our information on your platforms. Every little bit helps. So please do that. I want everybody to know that humanity is fighting back. Parents are fighting back, and the warriors will fight back alongside them. So go have yourselves a good afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and we will indeed speak again soon. I'll be back in Washington shortly and have much more to report, but the call to action is do something. Go out and be a warrior. Thanks.